We're gonna get started in a child's pose for this class. So come to sit on your heels. I'm gonna say take your knees about hip width apart, but do what works for you, and then fold forward. Maybe your forehead rests on a pillow. Maybe your torso rests on a bolster. Maybe you rest on your very fame hungry cat. Whatever it is, come down into your child's pose. And just take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. We have today a class for the hips and the pelvis, for releasing emotional and physical tension in this Swadhisthana, second chakra area of the body. A place where I would assume almost all of us experience some gripping or tension or discomfort at least sometime over the course of our cycle or the month. So as you breathe in, try to breathe into the lower back, into the ribs, and into the belly. And as you breathe out, try to feel that air or prana or energy that you've taken in moving around, maybe spreading warmth or light, or even a color if that works for you. As you inhale, there's this taking up space in your own body, this lift, expansion, opening. Exhale, get everything to move. Keep going like this and try to focus your attention on an area of the body that feels tense or tight or sore or stuck. So much of our tension and discomfort here comes from not taking up space. Even something like tight yoga pants, which you might notice on this platform, I very rarely wear. Even in my more active practices these days, I'm trying to move away from them as much as possible, simply because of the restriction and constriction that it teaches our body to do by squeezing everything in. And look, I'm all for fashion. I love clothes. I love wearing things that are probably not, healthy for the physical body, out of joy and fun and self-expression. But it's so interesting to just notice how much of the day-to-day things we do in our lives keep us small and tense and stuck and tight in this area. Take another really deep breath in. Feel the belly. Just be heavy and soft and open. And for a moment here, see if you can direct your attention to somewhere in the body that feels very light and feels very free. And maybe this is around that area. Maybe your belly does feel soft and open. Or maybe it's your heart, your chest. Maybe it's your hips or your lower back. Maybe finding a part of your body that feels free is difficult. And it might be your eyes, it might be your hair. Try to find that one physical space and just be there, rest there for a moment. Let your attention sit there. And then direct your focus back to the area of tightness or stickiness or heaviness, and just notice if anything's changed. Maybe it hasn't. It's okay. And as we move throughout the practice, whenever you feel that you're kind of focusing too heavily on an area of tightness or discomfort, and you want a distraction, instead of leaving the body, instead go somewhere else that feels lighter, that feels more free. And you can kind of switch your attention between the two. And take one more really full, deep, extended, expansive breath in here. Breathe everything out. And then press the palms down, lift up into an all-fours position. Take your knees beneath your hips, your wrists beneath your shoulders. Spread your fingers wide and untuck your toes. Feel the tailbone long, so try not to arch the back or round the spine. We tend to go one way or the other. Try to find your neutral. As you inhale, shift a little weight forward into the palms so the wrists go over the ankles, right? Go toward the fingers, and then feel the tailbone being pulled back. Now it's not about sitting on the heels. We're taking this rocking forward and back, shifting into the palms and then back toward the heels. It's not about your butt sitting on your heels. It's about your tailbone being pulled back in space and resisting the urge to round your spine so that you can bring your butt down. It's a small movement. It's maybe a little bit an odd movement, but it's helping to lubricate the deep inner part of the hip that gets very, very tight, very, very stuck, particularly in our modern lifestyle, particularly in times of heightened kind of stress or emotional tension. Come back to center and angle the knees in slightly and the heels out. The knees won't be touching. Again, it's a little different for everyone. It's definitely awkward. Tailbone stays long, shift weight forward into the palms, and then pull the tailbone back. For most of us, the range is going to be less here. Shift forward and back. Shifting forward and back. And just, again, it's so easy to zone out here and be like, okay, why are we doing this? What's happening in that front hip flexor? What's happening at the top of the thighs? Just be curious. Keeping the tailbone long, the breath deep. Come back to center. Angle the toes in slightly. They're not touching, but they're close. The knees are wider. Tailbone stays long. Try not to arch the spine. Shift forward, pull back. Shift forward, pull back. Now the range here, not for everyone, but for most people will be a little bit more. Shift forward, pull back. But it's not about how far you can go back. It's about paying attention to what's happening deep, deep within the hip. Maybe you're breathing out through your mouth. Maybe you're moving the jaw side to side. Come back to center, breathe in. And breathe out. And then bring the knees to touch and lift the feet up off the floor. You might want to put a pillow or a blanket underneath your knees if you're not on a thick sheepskin. Your wrists are under your shoulders, your fingers spread wide. You're going to take your feet out as wide as you can and then pull them together. Take your feet out as wide as you can, have the feet relaxed, and then pull them together. Keep going a few more times. Again, just notice what's happening deep within the hip. Notice what's happening within the belly. Trying to keep the tailbone long. Take one more breath in. Full breath out. Land down through the shins. slide the knees forward so you can sit up onto your heels. Maybe you sit on a cushion or something else here, but we won't be in this position for long. You might just stay here for a few breaths, or fingertips come behind you, or palms of the hands, whatever works. And we're not going into a full Supta Virasana, but just breathe into the front of the body. Right, so maybe you're up on your fingertips, you're walking your hands back, lifting the chest, maybe the palms are down. Just breathe in and feel, without kind of squeezing the glutes too much, you're just lengthening the tailbone toward the heels and then placing the buttocks back down gently onto the feet. Once more like this, lengthen the tailbone toward the heels, don't tuck the tailbone, just lengthen, open the tops of the hips, and then bring the buttocks back down. Again, you can do this kind of like up on the hands, just tiny movement. Once more. Tailbone toward the heels, lengthen to the front of the body. Sit the buttocks back down, walk the hands forward, breathe in. Breathe out. And then setting up for, this is called Deer, often in the Yin lineage. It's a very underrated posture in my opinion. We're going to take the front shin parallel to the short edge of your mat and the back thigh. Yeah. You inhale, sit up nice and tall, and then exhale, begin to lean forward. I like to flex that front foot and press the outer edge of the foot and the shin down toward the mat to get a deeper opening into the outer hip rather than flopping all the way forward. Relax the belly, notice what it was doing, relax the jaw. Notice what the neck is doing, how the neck and the throat sometimes try to help. Breathe in, breathe out. And then gently lift up. Take the right hand back behind you and lift the left arm. So you lift through the left fingertips, lift the chest. Maybe it's a very small movement. Maybe that hand goes back even further. And then come back to center and lean over that front shin. Moving between the two, inhale, coming up, but make it slow. Right hand back behind you, left arm sweeps. Stretch the fingertips, lift the chest. Bring that hand back down. Bend the elbows, lean over that front shin. Once more, take the right hand behind you, lift, stretch through the left arm. Come back to center and fold. And then from here, just change sides. Bring the left leg forward. Take the right leg back. Flex that front foot. Kind of press the shin bone down. And maybe you stay upright or begin to lean or fold over that front leg. And more isn't always more here. A few deep breaths. And then lifting up, take the left hand behind you, sweep the right arm up slowly, stretch. Play around with the positioning of that back hand so that you can feel that pull and extension, but doesn't feel painful or icky. Oh, it might feel a little bit icky actually, but not wrong. Come back upright. And slowly fall. We're trying to take this one really, really slowly. Stretch, extend, keep pressing that front shin down. Come back to center and fold, bend the elbows. and to the parts of the body that feel heavy, tight, or stuck. Inhale to fill up and take up space within your own body, and exhale. Get that energy to move and circulate so it's not stuck or stagnant or still. Come back upright. Bring the soles of the feet together, the knees out wide, and slide the groin toward the heels. You can take your hands behind you and lift your chest. Try to press the outside edges of the feet together and open the soles of the feet up toward the sky like you're opening up a book. And you could be here and it's perfect, but you're doing your best to feel with that pressure of the feet, the blades of the feet into one another. You can get a little bit more of the knees toward the floor, the spine to extend. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Deep breath in, deep breath out. And then come back upright into a cross-legged seated position. Take your hands to your knees or to your thighs and start to make these really big circles. We often start the class like this. It's really nice now just to stir everything up, release any last little pockets of gripping, of stagnation, heaviness. And change direction. You can even do this like standing up with your hands on your hips and just draw hip circles. So silly, but such a nice thing to do in the middle of the day to just get everything mobile in this area of the body. Come back to center, sit up tall, breathe in. And breathe out.